something that you should be doing to stand out. This tells an employer exactly what this person will achieve and can achieve. A simple formula for writing an engaging bullet point that will capture an employer's attention is to start out with an action verb, followed by your value add, then a linking word, and then your how you achieved said accomplishment. This formula is important because it does a few very powerful things. It engages your reader, it demonstrates your worth, and it offers proof of your impact. Now, that is really what a resume is meant to do. If you're not currently doing this with your bullet points, you probably don't have a strong chance of getting an interview. So let's go through this formula piece by piece and talk about how you can apply it for yourself. Here's an example of a bullet point that follows this formula. Improved, action verb, employee satisfaction by 75%, value add, by, that's the linking word, redesigning compensation strategy to align with market practices. Every single bullet point on your resume needs to start with an action verb. You don't need to start with I. There should be no personal pronouns anywhere on your resume. And you can avoid passive phrases like was responsible for or was hired by boss to. You don't need any of that. It's clunky. It's best to start out with the action that you performed. And it's also a great idea to try to use a variety of words. If you use the same word like led or managed or implemented 6 times, you're gonna lose your reader. It's not as compelling, it's not as interesting. Now, obviously you can't choose an action verb without knowing what you're going to say. So the next part of the formula is your value add. I see so many professionals that have bullet points that just describe their tasks in a vague and boring, generic way. Do not do this. There was a study in 2023 that found that 12,000 US-based resumes. Out of all of those resumes, only 19% of those professionals used numbers to quantify their achievements. That means that using numbers on your resume will set you apart. Here's an example of a client that I worked with recently that wasn't using numbers. So he came to us with a draft. He works in marketing, and this was how he started one of his bullet points. Increased social media following. We talked about it and we came up with this. Boosted YouTube subscribers by 42% within 6 months. That is so much more specific. That is a massive increase in subscribers in a short amount of time. So including those details really elevates kind of a generic bullet point and tells an employer, wow, this person really can bring value to our company. Now, if you're in a career where these kinds of statistics aren't at your fingertips, you might be wondering, well, how can I quantify? What do I have to say? I actually had a recent client who works as a grocery store clerk, and she really wanted her resume to emphasize her customer service skills, her interpersonal skills, and she initially had a bullet point that read like this: talk to customers while running the cash register. And I asked her, how many customers? And she said, hundreds every day. So we said that. Engaged hundreds of customers per day in friendly conversation. That bullet point says so much more about who this person is, what she brings to work on a daily basis, and how she interacts with people. Now, if you're struggling with ways to quantify your achievements, YouTuber Jeff Sue has some amazing content about job search, and he came up with a shorthand for going through each of your bullet points and finding ways to infuse numbers. So if you ask yourself how many, how long, and how often, for each of your bullet points that you currently have, you're going to end up with some more numbers. Some examples of how many could be tutored 7 students. For how long, you could do something like led a 2-month summer camp. An example of how often might be facilitated think tanks twice per week. These are the kinds of questions to ask yourself, and that will really elevate your bullet points. Once you include your value add, the next part of the formula is a linking word, like via or by or within, and this is the word that will lead you to your how. How did you achieve said accomplishment? Did you work as part of a team or did you work independently? Did you leverage some kind of expertise or technology or language or skill that you have? This can be a really great place to infuse some equipment or tool or software program that you utilize to accomplish this result. That can be really helpful when you're trying to work in specific keywords for applicant tracking systems. So let's talk about some ideas of how. This can be something like tutored 9 students twice per week via Zoom and Google Meet, because that's a great way to say, hey, I'm proficient in those programs. It could be boosted subscribers by launching strategic partnerships with artists and influencers, because that tells me, wow, this person knows how to launch a partnership. This person has great interpersonal skills. This person is innovative. They think outside the box. They're going to do that at this organization. Now, something to consider when you have your bullet points crafted is the way in which they're ordered. You should always include the most important or impressive or relevant bullet points towards the top. Customizing your resume is something that is so undervalued, but it is so important. I made a video all about how to do this and how to craft more targeted bullet points. So check that out and be sure to subscribe for more content like this about how to take your career to the next level. I'll see you in the next one.